Hello and welcome to Edessa the Dark Crusades. This particular scene takes place, if I remember exactly, Al Qadir is looking to gain influence in the farmlands, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, he is. His studies or focus are with agriculture, and he has put interest in a particular human family due to their plight and through communication with them, possible um, commercial interests as well. But they seem to be in a great debt and a great struggle between an individual outside the city.
Yes. Uh, Quite a difficult thing, that. In any case, uh, the farmlands of Edessa, stretching decently as farmland should. The quietness of the farms is a very calming, a very calming kind of feel as everyone who is done for the night have begun to rest, except for perhaps the more diligent of the few, the man that Kadir has placed into employment, particular individual. It is he that meets with Al Qadir, simply uh, wipes the dirt from his clothing.
As Kadir approaches this man, he will look at him with with more or less a look of approval. Says, I'm glad that you've been showing up. Honestly, I was mildly assured that you may have blown me off.
The gentleman, the gentleman simply goes, "Well, if I were to do so, my sister would be in my position then, something that I would not wish to afford."
And he nods at that. That is much appreciated, and honorable nonetheless. I'm hoping that the others have not given you too much trouble as you work.
He uh, he kind of makes a very kind of visible sigh as he says, "My my hands were not necessarily made to work the fields, but they at least admire uh, my ability to work despite the heaviness of the loads."
Remember, all things can be learned. Eventually, you'll get used to this, and it won't bother you as much. Trust me. Despite my appearance, I'm more than used to working in the fields.
He nods at this and he says, "The master, the person who owns the farm, essentially, says that the master is a very good man. He's been very patient with me, firm but fair, and he has treated me with immaculate respect. Uh, Perhaps that is what to makes me so eager to work harder, to to appeal to his generosity.
Good. Then, by showing respect, he will get respect, as he's proven today. Tell me, Ishmael, have you heard anything new from, let's just say, your particular, well, let's just call this particular blight on your financials?
He uh, he kind of nervously uh, gives you a piece of paper. He it's not necessarily addressed to anybody in particular. It seems more like just a very standard looking note. It's not really who it's from or anything. It just says uh, all debts must be paid, whether it is through gold or through flesh. They will be paid. And he goes, it was delivered. It was delivered about the time that is there the marshaling of the city the, around that time that this letter was delivered. I am I'm uncertain as to why someone would risk such a thing just to deliver this letter, but I do not believe that it is simply a bluff.
Kadir will nod to this. I feel that these individuals either might have special permission or they're simply choosing to ignore the rules of the city's intentions. And he looks over to the note, and there's no distinguishing marks or anything where this came,
Uh,
right?
no, not really. The writing in it is uh, how should I? What is your academics, actually? Hello? Hello? There we go.
Sorry.
Uh, it's just Hangouts. What is your academics? What's your academics level?
Academics, I believe it is 2. Yeah, it is 2. My academics is 2, and I also have the merit of multilingual, if that matters anything.
Okay, multi. Oh well, it's not in a language that you probably wouldn't understand. It looks like uh, it's written in Arabic, fairly standard Arabic. Uh, can you just give me a? I'm trying to think which one you should do because I want you to actually look at the. It might be intelligence investigation, I think.
All right. I don't have an investigation, but I do have intelligence. I don't think I have anything else to really help me with this.
Well, let's go with intelligence academics because essentially I'm kind of wanting you to look at the handwriting. That's basically what I'm trying to get.
No problem.
Let's just use 3. It's not being used right now, so we'll just do a thing here.
And that's 2 successes.
Yeah, that's good. As you kind of look over the letter, you don't really see any kind of distinguishing marks. Like you can't really tell what kind of ink or anything was used or anything like that. But you do notice that the way that the letter is written, it's very basic, very kind of to the point. Uh, it's very the way that it's the writing itself is what kind of draws you in. It's very uh, it's you can kind of get the idea that the person who wrote this is fairly articulate, perhaps fairly educated, uh, someone who's probably used to lettering and writing and things like that. But that's about as much as you get from it.
I actually, Kadir will actually kind of scrunch up his forehead at this, because typically, just in general, threatening notes are never really done by people who are used to writing. Hmm. And was this on your doorstep or?
He he thinks for a moment and he goes, the the weirdest thing about it was it wasn't at the doorstep. It wasn't anywhere like that. It was within the home, sir. It was there upon my pillow. It was only from me moving in my sleep as I was getting up that I found it.
That definitely brings a bit of concern on Kadir's face. So was your family not home as well?
He shakes his head.
Hmm. And you lock all your doors, your windows?
He obviously nods his head. Of course, sir. And with martial law as it is, my father has bought more locks. Perhaps if he had his way, he would try to turn us into a castle all of its own.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, I know some old, some old family, um, most old family wisdom that could possibly help protect your house. And, and with that, Kadir will say, and as he says it, he'll actually go back to his particular small little, really at this point, shack, and go in there, and he will actually work on a particular ritual, and he will actually ask Ishmael to come with him.
Ishmael will follow. He's a little uncertain of where it is you are wishing to go, but he will follow.
And when they get into his little shack, it is basically it's very um, very bland. There's a cot to be rested on. There's a cot to be rested on. There are shelves, and they're filled with different scrolls and books, and there's different containers and pots and plants and knickknacks. It almost looks like some might even say a hedge witch's kind of area. It just has different little, small little, odd and interesting things. Nothing that seems malevolent, but stuff that just seems off.
and he is rather interested in all the various things that are within this shack. And he goes, "What is it that we need to do here, sir?"
Well, my family tells me of an old tale that if you leave out certain objects, you bring the blessings of the jinn from the deserts into your home. They can be a very watchful eye. And if you need me to roll a subterfuge, or I do actually have Earth Wisdom, I can do that as well.
Uh, yeah, do a subterfuge.
All right. Manipulation or charisma?
Uh, go with charisma.
All right. 2 successes.
Okay. He is kind of a little. He kind of quirks his brow at this. Uh, at this kind of action that Kadir is speaking of, and he kind of shakes his head a bit, and he brings out a very small looking bag, like very very small, like something you could wear around your neck. And he goes, "I I did not think that Muslims still believed in the jinn. I thought they had all converted themselves to God, but I guess such things are still prevalent in a thing of that nature. But if this will deal with things, then I have no reason to object. The Cabal, of course, is indeed powerful as well." And he gives you the small bag.
And he will take it. And I'll say to him, it's like, unfortunately, people have an odd sense of priorities. My family always believed, regardless of the changes, you should respect the old ways. So they still have merit. And as he takes the bag from Ishmael, he'll open it. What's inside?
What is inside is uh, it's a small little stone. Uh, it looks to be like it's lapis lazuli, I believe. Very, very, very beautiful blue. It's polished, and it has. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find them. It has a symbol on it. I need to find the. There it is. It has the symbol for the. Sure. It's the tree of life in the Kabbalah, kind of Kabbalah symbols. It's see if I can find the picture. There it is. It's kind of etched very weirdly, I should say. It's kind of etched very weirdly, obviously because of the stoned material or jeweled material it's made out of. But it is very nice. It was obviously something that someone put a lot of time into getting created.
And the deer will look at it approvingly, and he says, "This must have been the the person who did this must have shown much great respect to your family. It's well made."
He nods a bit and he says that it was something that his mother had given him before she had passed away. I believe she gave it to. He says, I believe she gave it uh, about soon as I was born. They had they had placed that material there, or they had it made.
Hmm. I see. Well, and he'll put it back in the bag.
There it
And
is. That's basically what the symbol looks like.
okay, I'll have to change it on my sheet because I was looking in the wrong place, but this ritual still does exist. Um, what he will do then is he'll grab nowhere near as nice as stones as what he was given to him, but just different kinds of basically rocks. And he'll put them in a circle. He'll have about around 7 of them. And he'll start gathering a particular type of candle and puts them in the center of the circle of the rocks. And he will pull out a knife and um, prick his finger. And he will light the candle um, and begin saying something in mild Arabic as he puts his finger where the flame is and lets the fire burn the of his finger. And I'm casting the ritual Witness of the Whispers, which basically allows me to make the equivalency of a what's the word I look for a scrying device.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, sorry, there is more to that because the ritual has specific things that I'm actually should be using. I require a 3-inch pin, a length of thread, a container, and one healthy human ear or eye. One or the other, not both. So
Hmm.
actually,
Uh, well, maybe you have to tell him this ritual will take some time.
yes, it's going to take a huge time, but I'm showing the beginning of it nonetheless to him.
Yes.
And I will say, I will, I will create eyes and ears for your household.
He will he'll kind of nod his head at that. If that is what can be done, then let us see then what can be done with it then.
Uh, as he starts the ritual and begins kind of going through the motions of this, he will stop at a certain point, and but the candle still burns, and it still burns with an eerie glow. Um, as the eyes and ears made in a circle, not the stones, um, seem to almost with the eyes seem to dance with with animation, like the lights dance within the eye. Then the ear seems to still pump with blood despite them being preserved. This ritual will continue without my notice for momentarily as he stands up and leads Ishmael outside out of the shack. When it is done, place it in areas that you feel that are less secure than those.
He nods his head and he looks to Gadir and he goes, "Sir, it would be, in my opinion, to be careful around the uses of the jinn. They are, of course, agents of the accuser, after all."
Yeah, they are, but they were born nonetheless with man and angel, and the jinn of any a flame of earth, wind, or water are to be respected like any other man or angel. And I honestly do a lot of things to put myself in favor with them, so I should be fine.
Uh, he will nod at that and he will go, "I certainly hope so, sir."
From what you told me of earlier, does your family not respect the jinn as well?
He uh, he nods, but he goes, "Yes, sir, but we also know that we cannot rely on them too much. It is can be very dangerous. Respecting them means to not uh, call upon them too much."
And
Is how he kind of says it.
and Greer will nod approvingly. That is good. One of the best ways to improvement is to know your boundaries, and I'm in agreement. If you don't know the jinn, at least not the way that I do, they can be easily fickle in their nature.
He uh, he will nod at this, and he'll go, "Indeed, sir. Do be do be careful of such things. In any case."
I will try my best. I do also wish to ask of you. Let's just say this may be seem rather, let's just say, overly cautious, maybe even paranoid. Make sure, especially around your bed, around your doors, before you sleep, put sand near them or water, something that displaces with the movement of man or thing.
He will he will nod at that, and he will go, "I will do my best, sir." Then
My family has told me rumors of spirits that can go through, that can move along the people without being noticed. Without them wishing for you to notice them, they can be nigh impossible to detect. But since they still reside on this plane of the living in some cases, or in between, it's hard to tell. They still show their physical marks where they lay. My family taught me that if you feel that you're being watched, You should surround yourself in a particular circle of sand or salt to keep them at bay.
He will nod, and he will go. Then I will do so, just for the hope of my sister then to be safe.
And and he nods. Make sure to spread it, as I spread it wide, and watch it carefully when you wake. If the sands have been moved, that means they were there.
He nods and he goes, then allow me to take my leave so that I can do as you have instructed.
He nods at that. You have more than earned your gold for today.
He nods at this as uh, as uh, as he says so. He then uh, begins to leave the small farm.
And I feel that he's kind of gone out to the distance. And because Kadir gave him that advice due to partial paranoia of what he think might evolve itself with him, he is going to turn on his aspects and do a perception check around him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What is your aspect level?
I am at level 2.
Okay.
That's 3 successes, unless my aspects lowers it down to 5 or 4.
No, your three is fine. Uh, what exactly are you looking for? You're just looking to see if there's people obfuscated around you or something?
Yeah, that's the reason why I told him about the salt and sand, because the war. I at least know bit of obfuscate due to the warrior clan, and even when they are obfuscated, they still move physical things. So one way you could defend yourself is using sand or salt or something that displaces with their presence. If you feel that you're being followed,
Okay. For all intents and purposes, there is nobody around you that is obfuscated. He's not being followed. He's not being followed out here, or at least not followed all the way out here. But you have no guarantee if that is. You have no idea if that is simply perhaps it is closer to the city, but you are uncertain, of course.
Kadir slightly relaxes. So he knows anybody with the talent or the discipline is more than aware of its weaknesses, and he kind of breathes out to himself. If I was like my brother, I could follow him. But also, if I was like my brother, I couldn't see what was chasing him. As he kind of talks to himself. And he thinks about the ritual of what he wishes to use to help protect Ishmael's home. And he is aware also that it can't pierce through obfuscate. And if somebody put a note on his pillow, and he never noticed, and got into the home, and his family was in the home and nobody noticed, that there is still a hole in his plan, even though he wishes the best for him. Because he knows there are rituals and things that actually put disciplines onto objects, but he's nowhere near skilled to do that.
Hmm. And that is something that I think Kadir can postulate on as this mystery is the threat becoming more apparent for his latest project. No one knows for certain, but something something will be found out one way or the other. I just wonder if Kadir will be able to prevent something catastrophic, at least in a small sense.
And with that, our scene ends. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Have a good morning, evening, or night.